Yo, we here. I know that was so quick, right? We just made that transition like that. We just did it like that. We were just on YouTube like 2 seconds ago, and now we're on YouTube. I mean, we were on TikTok 2 seconds ago. Now we're on YouTube. So check it out. What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, the Ultimate Rage, coming back with yet another live. So basically, here's the deal. We have a presidential debate today. Oh, wait, well, I forgot. Make sure you hit that like and the subscribe and the notification bell. Do all the YouTube things. The Outrageous EP is available on all streaming platforms. Make sure you join the Patreon. Patreon.com/theultimaterage. Gonna upload some new shit later today once we get to it. But thank you for coming through. Hit that like and hit that subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Hit that like and hit the subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. And after the live show, we're going to be headed. Thank you. Appreciate. Thank you. After the live show, we're going to be headed to the Discord. We're going to build community. We're going to shoot the shit and get ready for this presidential debate. Because today is a special day, we're going to be watching the presidential debate together. And we're going to be watching it from the lens of a Kardashev Type 1 focused mindset. And we're going to get into what that is and why it matters, because let's just be honest, fam. America is in a state of crisis. Yeah, I know it's difficult to believe, but we're in a state of crisis. All right, thanks for letting me know that, fam. See, for me, it all looks the same. Everything looks super fluid and wonderful to me, but I can't know how bad it is for the rest of y'all. All I can do is just stream. That's all I can do. All I can do is what I can do. But y'all can help me improve as long as we continue to make this thing happen. Because check it out, man. I'm going to just lay it bare. All right. We need to sell the idea of futurism. We need to sell the idea of human progress. See, theism has had so long that they have purported their nonsense on a constant basis, telling everybody we need to worship this super higher power. It's a superpower and it's so amazing and so wonderful. We need to worship it. That is a waste of time. We need to be working towards becoming the superpower. If there is a superpower that exists, it is us. All right? Spoiler alert, we are God. Yeah, I know. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Y'all didn't know that, but yes, we, us, the people, we are God. Working together interdependently with synergy, there is no telling what we can accomplish, and that is the point. That is the point. We are reality. We are the truth. We are the way that the universe gets to know itself. We don't know if there's any other life out there. We need to be doing the work to find out. All these galaxies, all these stars, all these planets, and people are still stuck on this planet, still stuck on basic, ridiculous, ancient thinking, ancient ideologies. We need to be forward focused. We need to be future focused. We need to be focused on how we can improve as a society, as a human race. You feel what I'm saying? Because as we are right now, currently, we are in a state of crisis. We are in a mental health crisis. We are in an addiction crisis, a substance abuse crisis. We are just in a state of crisis. We got this hyper-capitalist, plutocratic, oligarchical, kakistocratic, kleptocratic, gerontocratic, theocratic, techno-feudalist corporatocracy where these old, idiotic, rich fucks own everything. They control everything. They use the media to control people's behavior, to control people's mindsets, to make you think stupid so that we don't recognize that these fools are helping to destroy our society, that they're helping to worsen everything as much as possible in such a way that we can never improve. That we're stuck in the state of stagnation where things are not improving in tangible, meaningful ways. We're not engaging and embarking on huge projects that further humanity. There was a time where going to the moon was like the thing to do, and now people are like, well, why don't we go back to the moon? Oh, well, because it doesn't make us any money. Well, why can't we just do it? Because we want to, because we want to understand what the fuck is going on. This is the problem that we have in our current modern day society. We are not focused on trying to understand anything and everything. In fact, we are telling people that they don't need to think about anything, that they don't need to understand anything. They don't need to learn anything. They don't need to figure out anything. They can just believe the stupid things that they believe and just keep going to the store, go to work, go home, shut the hell up and watch TV, watch YouTube. And look, I don't have a problem with watching TV. I don't have a problem with watching YouTube. But the problem is that we we do not foster learning, we do not foster education, and most importantly, we do not foster the idea that understanding reality is the best course of action that we need to engage in. Because the more that we understand about reality, the more that we can manipulate this reality to our collective benefit and improve our ability to fucking create a well-functioning society for ourselves. Because the question is, what are we doing? What are we doing as a human race? What exactly that we are trying to do? What is it that we are trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish in the long run? See, all these people like to venture these ideas. Well, we got to create a nation, a Christian nation, so we can worship God. But my question is this. If there was a such thing as a God, why would it want to be worshipped? What exactly does that accomplish? Where is this thing so that it can describe to us that it wants to be worshipped, that it needs worship, that it craves worship? See, here's the issue. This is why I talk about the simulation hypothesis all the time, as many of you are aware. If this was the reality that people really think that there's this super grand designer in the sky, and that this grand designer thinks that these things are so true and thinks that these things make sense, that means it has control of the code, it has control of the fucking laws of physics. Therefore, it can literally formulate reality, mold reality at its fingertips. So it has the ability to make a reality that it wants. So why would it need us to worship it? I mean, why would it need us to do these things, to engage in these behaviors that don't seem to really help anything or anybody? Okay? And then why would it choose some president to be the leader? For what? If this thing has the ability to control everything, why would it need to engage in such trolly behaviors? Why would it need to pick this person or that person when it can just say to us what the hell it wants? All we see are a bunch of people that are just making shit up on a constant basis, and that makes it difficult for us to get to the bottom of what we should actually be doing. These people, they run for office, they talk about all kinds of goofy shit, they placate these goofies because these are the things that these people think. These people think that we should be working towards these ridiculous goals, and these goals don't seem to help anybody in any tangible, meaningful way. That's why we have to get real with reality. That's why it's so important that we, as a human race, get a handle on what reality actually is. That we need to take a step back, right? It's like we need to do a reset of understanding what reality actually is and how we can actually improve upon it and understand it. What is reality? What does it mean to be real? How do we know what reality is? How do we know how to know? How do we know how to understand? How? See, people don't like to ask questions because they are uncomfortable with the fact that we simply don't know various aspects of reality. We don't know what reality actually is. These ancient sci-fi fantasy fairy tales gives them some kind of a framework for understanding reality. But now that we have the scientific method, now that we have different ways to contemplate reality, now that we have all these technologies that allow us to be more interconnected than ever before, we can contemplate these things in a much deeper, more sophisticated manner. And it is easy and clear to understand that these ideologies, that these sci-fi fantasies are simply that, fantasies. They are simply false. They simply do not comport with reality. They make unfalsifiable claims, which makes them pretty much false. Because if they were true, these fools would be able to demonstrate it. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I mean, look. This is my first time watching the debate with people. When I've watched debates, I usually watch them by myself and I cringe so fucking hard. Because we're not talking about these topics, we're not talking about these things in any realistic way. And that is exactly the point I'm trying to get at. When you have a nation of people who are not getting real, who are not being real with reality, that makes it difficult for us to understand what our overall objectives are. Because you have these people that think that our objectives should be to not give a fuck about the environment, just believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and just worship the Lord, and worship the Lord, worship the Lord, worship the Lord. For what? What is the purpose of that? What exactly does that accomplish? How does that actually help us to create a well-functioning, enjoyable world where we can all live peacefully, where we can all live together in harmony, harmoniously, having our basic needs met, where we don't have to worry about being homeless or being in extreme amounts of debt or finding our next plate, where we don't have to worry about all the basics. We have both Democrats and Republicans vying for the office every time, and it doesn't matter who gets in the office. These problems still continue to linger throughout all of humanity. Which is why it's so difficult for me to understand why people get so caught up in the political nonsense, get so caught up in the political vitriol that we see on a constant basis. Because these fools, when they're fucking spending their billions of dollars, their hundreds of millions of dollars on political advertising and campaigning, they're not actually talking about what vision they have for America and for humanity in the long run, in the long term, other than this sci-fi fantasy bullshit that they talk about on a constant basis. They can't show us how this shit actually helps us. They can't show us how these things actually helps humanity to improve in ways that are clear and undeniable, where we could say, okay, yeah, this neighborhood had a high amount of crime, but now after this policy, now crime has been reduced 90%. These people are coming up with ideas that are so amazing that we can just see, yes, society is improving and evolving in all these different ways. We don't see that. It doesn't matter what party gets in office. Okay, yeah, sure. We'll see some things here and there that might be a bit better. Here and there. Small little things like, oh, we created 120,000 jobs this last month. Isn't that wonderful? And yet we still have all this poverty. We still have all this homelessness. We still have all this hunger, child hunger, all these things that are plaguing our society. And we have to ask ourselves, is this conducive of a really high level civilization of a first world country? If this is a first world country, why would we allow this to persist? Why would we allow these things to persist? If we are truly civilized as people claim, why is this the best that we can do? Why is this the best that we can do? You mean to tell me we can't do better than this? Why would we be content with this current state of elections, the current state of politics, the current state of political discourse? Where is that party bad? This party good. Nah, that party bad. Our party good. We good. They bad. They bad. We good. How about they both suck? How about they both suck? How about the fact that these fools have failed miserably to help us create a really well-functioning society? Because I show y'all this all the fucking time. All the time. Thank you. Thank you for the like. Hey, my home girl, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Check it out. All right? Now, this is the Global Peace Index. For those of you who follow me, y'all see this all the time. It's on visionofhumanity.org. Okay? So what they do is they create a composite index measuring the peacefulness of countries made up of 23 quantitative and qualitative indicators, with each weighed on a scale of 1 to 5. The lower the score, the more peaceful the country, which means number 1 is the most peaceful, number 163 is the least peaceful. What do you know? Number 1 is not the United States of America. We are not number 1. As a matter of fact, we are not even in the top 10. Wait. Oh, no, that's Malaysia. We're not even in the top 10. You want to know where the United States ranks? Well, let's scroll all the fucking way down. Okay? Let's go all the way. All the way. Let's go all the way down. all the way turned down, all the way turned down. Oh yeah, we scrolling. Oh no, we're not in the top 100. The United States is not in the top 100. And we're still going. We're still going, y'all. Oh, there we are. 132. The United States ranks 132 on the Global Peace Index out of 163 countries. Look at all these different metrics. You can check this out for yourself. This is our score. 2.62 out of 163 countries. We rank 132. We're supposed to be the greatest country in the fucking world. Well, why aren't we the most peaceful? What are we doing, fam? What are we doing? Y'all can check this out for yourselves. Visionofhumanity.org. So, that's why I ask, what is it that we are trying to do as a human race? What is our goal? What is our focus? What are we trying to do in the long run? See, this is where we have to start going back to the drawing board. These fools that vie for office, they don't give us a real clear vision of what they want to accomplish, and they don't make a good case as to why this is the course of action that we as a nation need to be engaged in. Why are we picking sides in fights? Why are we not trying to mend fights? Stop fights. Hey, guys, calm down. Chill out. Okay, there's enough land for all of us. We're human beings and we're all that we got. Instead, we want to go and start more and more wars. We want to engage in more international conflicts. We want to sell weapons to various other countries, and we want to fucking make sure that the military-industrial complex is constantly getting paid and ensuring that war will always be profitable. And it just so happens that it also is probably the biggest contributor to climate change that there is. And then we wonder why we can't breathe clean air and drink clean water. Oh yeah, well see, this is what we're doing, right? Because basically here's the truth, right? People love to frame these debates as, you know, oh my God, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. Oh, this fucking election is gonna determine what's gonna happen to humanity. Hogwash. Okay, this is marketing, and it's shitty marketing. It's like fear-mongering marketing. It's, oh, well, vote for us because who knows what might happen. Things that fucking could be the worst of all might happen. Exactly. They say it every fucking election. Every 2 years, every 4 years, they say the same shit. And what do you know? We're still here. We're still here. The fact of the matter is that no matter who wins, we lose. This is what they don't want to tell you. They love to frame this as, oh, if the Democrats win, then, oh, everything's going to be A-okay. The Republicans say, oh, well, if the Democrats win, everything's going to be terrible. But if we win, everything's going to be A-okay. And what do we see? Regardless of who is in office, things worsen. They worsen on a constant basis. We can't talk about any of these pressing issues. We still can't get a healthcare for all situation going because these fools don't want it to happen, because they get their marching points, their talking points from pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, all that. And we pretend like this shit isn't public available data. We act like this shit isn't widely known. We act like we don't know that both of these parties cater more to their fucking donors than to us. We act like we don't know that Princeton University performed a study 10 years ago. 10 years ago, showing us that the rich, the banks, and the corporations have greatly influenced policy, and that the will of the people have had a basically net zero effect on policy. I've heard countless people say, well, if you don't vote, you don't get to have a say on the policies. You don't get to have a say on the legislation that gets drawn up. You don't get to have a say anyway. That is the point. You don't get to have a say anyway. I've never seen somebody vote for this president or that president and then get invited to the fucking White House so they can have a clear-cut conversation about what legislation needs to be enacted. And the fact of the matter is that our current system of politics, our current system of governance is straight up woefully antiquated. It's outdated. It is fucking old as shit. It needs to be revamped or completely replaced. Because the fact of the matter is, it made sense to have the system of government back in 1776. When we didn't have mass communication, when we didn't have mass transit, when we didn't have all this infrastructure like we have. But see, now we do have that shit. Now, I trust you fools in the chat more than I trust these fools in office. Because unlike them, you guys are more in tune with reality, which is why you're here. Which is why I need you to hit that like button if you're here. Hit that subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that we can keep these things going, because we need to create a consortium of people who get it, who are in tune with reality, who want to be able to have a direct say in what goes on, because it is abundantly clear that these fools don't know what the hell they're talking about. There was a time where it may have made sense, but now it does not. It doesn't make sense. Mike, what up? Hit that like button. Hit that like button, fam. Matter of fact, from now on, y'all need to be hitting the like button before you even say a word to me. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Y'all know what time it is. It's the no cap zone. I forgot to tell y'all. Did y'all forget? Did y'all not know? You are in the no cap zone, where we have a strict ass dress code. When you coming up in here, all right? When you coming in here, when you're in here, knock it off with that capping ass shit. Knock it off with that capping shit. The only cap that's allowed is your thinking cap. Because I'm a thinker. I like to think, and so do you. That's why you're here in the no cap zone. We don't put a cap on what humanity's capable of. Okay? We know we can accomplish so much. We're barely even scratching the surface of what we can accomplish, which is why we're here. That's why we got to talk about it. That's why we got to talk about this debate. Because let's be real, fam. Mike, James, we all know what it is. These fools don't know shit about fuck. Because if they did, we wouldn't need to talk. You damn right, Penny. If you a silly goose, get in the pond. Matter of fact, I want to touch on that a little bit. You ever heard of the black swan fallacy? The black swan fallacy? The black swan fallacy. The black swan fallacy. For those who are not familiar, let me show you. Check it out. The black swan theory. The black swan theory, or theory of black swan events, is a metaphor that describes an event that comes as a surprise, has a major effect, and is often inappropriately rationalized after the fact with the benefit of hindsight. The term is based on a Latin expression which presumed that black swans did not exist. So let's make that a simpler explanation, right? So there was a time when people didn't know that there was a such thing as black swans. They thought that only swans were white because they were racist. They were racist. They didn't believe in us black swans, yo. Yeah, they didn't believe in us. They didn't believe that we existed. So they thought all swans were white. All the swans were white. That's because, but to be honest, that's because they didn't know that there were whites, that there were blacks. They didn't know. They just didn't know. We're gonna presume that they just were just ignorant. They just didn't know. They were unaware. They were racist. We all know. Let's just stop pretending. Let's just stop pretending. They were racist. So they had this idea that there were no such thing as black swans until they found that there were indeed black swans. And then it totally changed their mentality. The idea being, you can't say that something ain't real till you find it. That's the idea. You can't say something isn't true just because you haven't seen it. But see, this is the problem with this idea, right? This is the argument, or one of the arguments that theists like to use to justify their fucking bullshit. They like to say, well, just because you haven't found the Lord yet doesn't mean that there isn't one. And see, here's the problem I have with that argument, okay? Check it out. Check it out. So, the fact of the matter is that swans exist. Swans exist. We don't have to have a debate about it. We don't need to engage in fisticuffs over it. Oh no, I don't believe in these ridiculous swan things you're talking about. That sounds like a fictional character. I don't believe you. Let's fight. Let's fight to the death. Oh no, we don't have to have that debate. We all know swans are real. They already have been discovered to exist. The question is whether or not black swans exist. That was the question, that there was a swan that had such a pigment. Even if there weren't, even if we just assumed for the sake of argument that there were never any black swans, well, now we've developed technologies like genetic modification where we could just make them if we wanted to, right? Even if there was never a black swan in the world, we scoured the entire earth, the entire thing, we mapped the entire earth, every nook and cranny of the earth, and we just never uncovered the black swan. Now we have CRISPR gene editing systems and other fucking editing systems, Cas9 gene editing, CRISPR, whatever the fuck. And we could just modify beings, we could modify birds so that they could have black fucking feathers if we wanted to, because these are the type of capabilities that we're actually coming up with. The fact of the matter being, we need to reframe our thought process of what humanity is capable of. But at the same time, these people, these small-minded people that think that Jesus is the Lord and the truth and the light, these people are not coming up with these ideas. They're not thinking these things through. They're not trying to figure out how to solve these different problems. See, they want to say that there's this thing, that there's this God thing, that there's this superhuman, super being thing, whatever they claim it to be, that's out there somewhere, out in the cosmos somewhere, or maybe it's outside of the cosmos, or it's a part of the cosmos. They can't come to a consensus as to what its actual nature is, because they're full of shit, and that is the point. They're full of shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because at the end of the day, there is nothing, okay? So we might as well operate like what they're talking about is false. It's unfalsifiable, so it is false. Because what is the purpose of pretending like it's true? What does that accomplish? What has that accomplished? How has that actually accomplished solving any major world problem? How has that cured cancer? How has that cured ALS, cystic fibrosis, any of these crazy birth defects, any of these crazy conditions, or even regular shit like alcoholism or heart disease, you know, things that people die of on a constant basis. Oh, right. Yeah, exactly, Penny. It hasn't accomplished anything. But you know what does accomplish things? Actually figuring these things out using the scientific method, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. These are the tools that we use so that we can understand as much as we can about reality and improve upon this reality to our collective benefit. These are the tools that we have available to us, and that we are not utilizing them to the best of our ability. In fact, we are squandering our ability to use these tools to the best of our ability, because we have now a society that is failing miserably in understanding the math and sciences. We are a nation of scientifically inept, mathematically inept ass people who don't know shit about fuck because it's too hard. It's too hard. And what's easy is believing some loose interpretation of a sci-fi fantasy novel that you don't really have to think too hard about. All you gotta do is just read John 3:16, and that's all you need. That's all you need. Just this one little line in this gigantic, boring ass, poorly written ass book that doesn't comport with reality at all. Whatever it is, whatever book you want to point to, none of them seem to comport with the reality that we inhabit. So that is why when it comes to these type of fallacies, like the black swan theory, the black swan fallacy, people use them incorrectly all the time, and they love to be subtle about it, because the whole point is the fact that swans exist makes it more plausible for the idea that a black swan could exist. But the fact that not a single theist, not one time ever, has been able to demonstrate the existence of this God thing that they talk about, that they bloviate about all day, every day, that they love to fucking obsess over, that they think is so amazing and so wonderful, that they love to just fucking every day, every day, every day. No, Lord, Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Hello, Akbar. Hello, Akbar. They have nothing. They have nothing, nothing except excuses and random acts of pick your poison, violence, sexual abuse, gender-based abuse, gender-based fucking suppression, sexism. Sexism against women, specifically. Sexism against women. Because these fools hate them. Straight up hate them. And so now we have to start getting into, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to go back to the drawing board because we understand that we are living among a nation of people who believe that these ideas make perfect sense, that these ideas are wonderful, that they're amazing. My man Silk posted in the motherfucking Discord yesterday all these comments of all these people on this TikTok where they're showing heaven, this wonderful heaven place that they can't seem to locate at all, and how everybody in the chat, everybody in the comments is talking about, oh man, that's gonna be so amazing, I can't wait to go to heaven, it's gonna be so wonderful. One person even said, I will race you there. I will race you there. I'll race you. And my question is, hear me out. Hear me out. Why, oh why, couldn't we make heaven on earth today? Like, while we're alive. Why do we have to die to go to heaven? Why? Why are these people obsessed with death? It only goes to show that we have a nation that is in a state of extreme crisis where people are obsessing over death. They would rather die. They would literally rather die than to help improve the world, than to actually contribute positively to helping us create a well-functioning society for ourselves. You know what that means? You know what that means? It means that America, hear me out. Hear me out. America is suicidal as a nation. We are a nation of people that want to die. That can't wait to die. That wants to see the end of the world. That's why we see these people always trying to predict the end of the world. The end of the world is going to happen on January 1st, 2000. Because the number 2 with 000, that means that something, the end of the world. No. Why are these people so obsessed with death and dying? Why are they not obsessed with life and life affirming actions, life improving actions, where they can actually contribute to helping us improve upon life, our quality of life, extending our lifespans, making our lives more enjoyable in ways that are tangible, in ways that are meaningful, in ways that help us send ourselves to a future where we are constantly improving upon the human condition and understanding as much as we can about the reality that we inhabit. See, this is my thing. Yeah, Y2K, they really tried to scare us with that shit. Now, of course, there was the computer part of it. There was the IT part of it, which was a real thing. But no, these religious people were trying to tell us that the world was going to end. It was going to end. Jesus was going to come back, grab all his cronies, and then leave everybody else to fend for themselves. What the fuck were they talking about? See, this is what they do. This is how they work. They really think that they're going to do the greatest fucking job of all time, convincing us that their bullshit is the truth. And every single time, why is it that 100% of the time they fail? 100%? Not 72, not 69, not 12. 100% of the time, their predictions fail miserably. Maybe, just maybe, these people don't know what the hell they are talking about. And maybe that's why they should be far, far, far away from any position of leadership. Because if they truly knew what they were talking about, if what they were talking about was really legit, if it was really sensible, if it really made sense, then why? Why do they contribute nothing? Why do they contribute nothing to innovation, solutions of any kind, real, actual, useful, tangible solutions that actually work, that are demonstrated to work to help improve society in meaningful ways? Why do they always fail every single time? No matter what. So that's why we got to talk about the basics of reality, what it is, and then that's when we could talk about leadership, people who should lead the nation. Because let's be honest, even the concept of nations is outdated, if we're going to be real about it. Because we've become such a global society, we can have conversations with people all over the world. If they speak a different language than us, we have tools that allow us to translate. So we can communicate without even communicating. Several months ago, we had migrants move in next door. They didn't speak a lick of English. And we're talking about here in Southside Chicago, for those of you who are unaware. Southside 079, fucking Killer Ward, crazy. Auburn Gresham, what up? We had some migrants move in next door. They're no longer there, but they were there. They didn't speak any English. One of them came up to me, needed some help, tried to talk to me. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But he had the foresight to pull out his phone and say what he was trying to say in Google Translate and translate it to English so I could understand. He wanted a fucking monkey wrench. Oh, I don't know. Let me go check. Oh, I do have a monkey wrench. Here you go, neighbor. That happened as a result of technological innovation. No Christianity, no Islam, no Hinduism, no religion involved whatsoever. All thanks to scientific and technological innovation. Building bridges, thanks to new tech. Thanks to our growing understanding of reality and technology and material science. If we can accomplish things like that, mind you, 10 years ago, hell, barely 5 years ago, we were barely able to do shit like that. Now this is a commonplace thing. Exactly, Silk. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. That whole idea, exactly what I'm talking about. The idea of these borders, the idea of these walls of separation, because, you know, overall, we're going to have conversations about privacy and what that means. Because it's like, oh, we're worried about that country, but this country is our friend. But no, actually, this country is our enemies now. Fuck this country. Now that country is our friend. It's just like in 1984. Why are we even acting like that? We're a global society now. So why are we not working together interdependently with synergy to create as well functioning as a society as we can all over the world? Why can't we challenge all these, like, you know, ingrained traditions so that we can create new traditions, better traditions, ever evolving traditions based on the things that we learn and discover about reality? Why are we not focused on the futurism aspect of everything we are hoping to accomplish? Why are we still stuck in this tribalist mentality where it's us versus them when we should be working together now? We have the ability to communicate. We have these fucking new technologies. We have all these social media apps. Why is it so hard for us to communicate? I mean, think about it. The mere fact we had to move from TikTok to here because TikTok's on that bitch ass bullshit, don't even want to allow us to talk. I'm surprised I didn't get banned. I'm surprised I didn't get shut down and suspended for 23 days. Right? Because I would just do this there, but they won't allow us to do it there. They will not let us talk. Because we have too many entrenched ideologies, entrenched organizations that benefit from the status quo. They don't want shit to change. They don't want us even talking about it. Yeah, I know you was. But see, this is what I do. I got to get people riled up to motivate them to come on over. Come on over. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Because we got to make this shit happen somehow. I don't see anybody else trying to do the shit, so we got to be the ones to do it. We got to be the ones to try to bring sense to reality, that have to try to transform society, that have to try to transform our way of thinking. That's why we got to talk about these presidential candidates. But before we can even talk about that, we got to talk about reality first. We have to talk about what reality is and try to get on the same page of understanding reality so that then we can talk about who should be leading us as a society and how our society should organize itself to be led to begin with. As an example, right? One of the things I talk about all the time is how our focus, our overall general focus, should be moving up along the Kardashev scale. Our ability to harness energy, to master our planet, and to master reality as it is. Our ultimate goal should be trying to master reality as much as we possibly can. Getting as high on the Kardashev scale as we can. If that means that there's a level above level 3, because there's 1, 2, and 3. If we could get beyond level 3, then we should be doing it, because why the fuck not? Why not? Why not try to understand as much as we can, develop as much as we can, improve as much as we can, extend our lifespans, and improve our quality of life, improve our health, improve our wellness, and all these different things? Why would we not want that? Why would we not want constant improvement? Why would we not want actual metrics that lead to the improvement? When we're discussing politics, when we're discussing political issues, why is it that we can't come from a place of understanding of reality? The mere fact that different people have different ideas about what reality even is one of the things that hinders our ability to get on the same page to begin with. I'm not talking about, oh, these cosmologists versus those cosmologists have different ideas about cosmology. Oh, well, you got the string theorists over here. You got the E8 lattice over here. You got the fucking loop quantum gravity is over here. Whatever the fuck. right? You got the fucking simulators, the simulatarians, whatever they call themselves. And we got to figure out, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about people who believe things that are not scientifically rooted, that are not realistically rooted, that are not talking about things that we can demonstrate or at least conceptually make sense in any tangible, meaningful way. Okay, they can't demonstrate that there's something that exists out there that talks to them, that commands them, that gives them ideas, that gives them the codes, that gives them the keys. They can't demonstrate it, because if they could, they would, and then we would let them do their thing, because they would have demonstrated that they do indeed have this connection. And yet, when we ask them to show their credentials, actually show their credentials, they have nothing. So when it comes to talking about current issues, like let's say economic policies, right? Economics, the American economy, job creation, tax policies, trade agreements. They're not talking about these things in context, in the overall context, and what our aim should be headed for. They're not talking about how these policies will actually contribute to the improvement of America, the improvement of our lives, and how we can move forward on these things, right? How they're going to actually contribute to our technological progress and to our social progress, and how we need to have other policies in place to buttress these in order for us to have a well-functioning society for ourselves. As an example, right? Let's talk jobs. Let's talk jobs. The fact of the matter is that we live in a highly capitalist society, which means that corporations completely control, or at least have a huge control of the jobs that are out there, other than, of course, the government jobs and jobs at fucking 501c3s and what have you and whatnot, and sole proprietorships and shit. But for the most part, corporations are a huge portion of the job creators, which means that they have a huge portion in who gets to have a job and who doesn't. It's partly why I don't have one, but that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is that when you have a society that is hyper-capitalist, that is in a state of late-stage, end-stage capitalism, you're always going to have groups of winners and losers. You're always going to have some level of unemployment, because that's just what it is. They don't maximize employment, they maximize profits. That's their goal, is to maximize shareholder profit, which means that if we can cut 23,000 jobs, then we're going to do that, because that's going to allow us to make more money. If we can offshore these jobs, or if we can automate these jobs, then why do we need to pay these people when we can just buy these tools that will do it for less of the price? And that is the point. So that is why, as an example, if we were going to move toward becoming a Kardashev type civilization, that we should have some form of, I don't know, universal basic income, right? Because the fact of the matter is, we are a nation that is hyper-capitalist, and part of the problem of that is that prisons are also in many cases privately owned, which means that these prisons have a financial incentive to ensure that there remains some level of crime, so that people will end up inevitably becoming imprisoned. Which means that these prisons have a financial incentive to ensure that crime remains high, that there is always some level of crime, because that guarantees that they will get subsidies from the government and that they can continue to persist. And the thing is, when we're moving towards an advanced society, we have to decide collectively what entities should exist and should not exist, or should not be able to exist. We understand the need for prisons. We definitely need prisons because there are those among us who seek to cause chaos and mayhem, who have malicious, malevolent intent. They have no desire other than to create chaos, than to worsen the lives of others. So we need a place that we can keep these people so that they're not out here fucking us over, right? That's cool. But see, we're not a society that's focused on how we can improve people's lives, how we can affect people in ways so that they don't engage in these antisocial behaviors, so that instead they can become productive members of society. In other words, understanding what the fuck is going on up here, understanding what's going on upstairs, understanding what people are going through, understanding psychological disorders, understanding traumas, understanding people's experiences, having actual empathy, and actually discovering actual treatment methods, actual fucking therapy methods that will help these people become better people, and making sure that these services that they need to be better people are made available to them nationwide so that they can be productive members of society. See, when you put these necessary services behind a paywall and then have a society where people can't get paid, then you create a situation of chaos. Because if you have somebody who suffers from a mental disorder and or suffers from some substance abuse issue and or is out here homeless and desperate, you incentivize them to engage in potentially dangerous behaviors to themselves and or others, which ensure bad things are going to happen. If we had leaders that were Kardashev level focused, Kardashev scale focused, they would be working on how we can actually solve these problems moving forward in tangible, meaningful ways. That means that eventually we're going to have to phase out private prisons. There is no reason why anybody should be able to own a fucking prison. Especially if we can't tell that these people are working in our collective best interests. Especially when the evidence is to the contrary, that their actions are to our collective detriment. Another example of policy. Foreign policy. International relations. We touched on this earlier. The fact that we're buttressing one side and condemning the other because this is for some reason how we've decided to be. And we all know, look, I'm going to say it. See, I can say it here. They wouldn't let me say it on fucking TikTok, but I can say it here. We're a nation that's become so fucking religiously focused, so Christian focused, that we have unilateral support for Israel regardless of what they are doing, because these fools are trying to manifest the revelations in real life. That's why we always give so much support to Israel. That's why you have to be an AIPAC lover in order to even run for fucking office. If you even say anything negative about AIPAC or Jews, the Jews, bad things can happen. I know, because it happened to me. I was suspended for 7 days on TikTok because I had the nerve to tell people, yes, Kamala Harris took money from AIPAC and that they're Zionists. I said the Z word. I said the Z word. What else could they be described as? They're working on behalf of Israel and their supremacy. That sounds like a Zionist to me. And see, here's my thing, right? I'm not one of these right-wing conspiracy theorists that want to say bad things about the Jews, talking about they control the media and all this nonsense that these idiots like to talk about. Yes, there are Jewish people who are in high positions of media, but there are also people in other positions of media, high positions of media. There are other ethnicities and identities. You know what I'm saying? So to use these arguments is preposterous. So I bring this up because these fools like to muddy the waters on all these different sides of the aisle. You have one side that loves to condemn this group of people, but then you have other sides of the aisle that love to pretend like these people are the most wonderful and amazing people. They are beyond reproach. They are beyond criticism. And how dare you say anything bad about them, or else you're anti-Semitic. You're the worst person on earth. It's like, look, why can't we be objective? Why can't we just say there's pieces of shit in every ethnic group, in every ethnicity, in every gender, in every whatever group of people? I'm an atheist and anti-theist. There are shitty atheists and anti-theists. I just blocked some fool the other day. Okay? Just because we might agree on one thing doesn't mean we agree on other things. But if we actually come together and have real discussions about things, maybe, just maybe, we can actually work together and figure things out. So that's why I talk about international relations, because aren't these people supposed to be leaders? Aren't they supposed to be mature? Aren't they supposed to be solving problems? So why then are we engaging in wars? Why are we engaging in fisticuffs? Why are we putting the dukes up instead of saying, hey, let's try to resolve these issues amicably? Why don't we actually figure out a useful solution that is best for all parties involved? And look, this group might not be the happiest, that group might not be the happiest. But if we work together, if we get on the same page of humanity, maybe we can create a better world for each other. Because like you said, Silk, these nations, even the ideas of nations, such a huge divide. Jews and Palestinians, they're people. They're people. So why are they bombing each other? Why are they shooting at each other? Why are they doing all these things? Why are we butchering this group and condemning that group when we're all human beings? This is the reason why I talk about the Fermi paradox, why I talk about the rare earth hypothesis, and I talk about the great filter hypothesis, because at the end of the day, despite all the galaxies and all the stars and all the planets, all the moons and all the comets and all the asteroids and all the shit that's out there, with all of our technologies, all of our AIs and telescopes and motherfucking machine learning and all that shit, we all we got. We, human beings, are all we got. We have not discovered any other form of alien life, despite the fact that we have the James Webb Space Telescope at the L2 Lagrange point, discovering some of the oldest galaxies to have ever formed, redefining and refocusing our thoughts on how the universe came to be and how the Big Bang and all that shit happened. We still have yet to find intelligent alien life anywhere, which means we earthlings, we humans, are all we got with this life thing. We have to figure out what it means to be alive. We are still on the search, on the hunt for life elsewhere in the universe, but right now we are all that we know of. So that means that we should be valuing human life as much as possible, because we still don't even fully understand what it all means. We still don't even fully understand what it even means to be alive to begin with, to understand sentience and sapience, to understand what it means to think and to feel and to actually exist as an individual, you as an individual, me as an individual, but also the fact that we are working together as a society, that we're not just a living being, that we're not just individual beings, but that we're part of a living organism, that we're part of a living ecosystem. And if we want the best for ourselves, then we need to discover what the fuck that means. That means we got to go back to the drawing board. We need to go back to understanding what understanding is. We need to rethink and reconfigure what it is that we actually understand, so that when it comes to talking about how to best organize ourselves and conduct ourselves as people, that we actually do it in a sensible way, in ways that will best benefit the collective. And look, everybody's not going to be happy. And the path forward is not going to be easy. There's always going to be growing pains, especially with a lot of these technologies, and the fact that a lot of these technologies can be misused, mishandled in ways that can actually worsen people's lives. Not all innovations are going to be the most amazing things in the world. There's going to be unintended consequences, or worse, intended consequences. That there are going to be those of us with malice that are going to want to use these technologies to control people and or to benefit themselves. These entities, these people, these individuals that are doing the innovating, but who also allow these innovations to be patented and then used in ways that some corporation or some individual deems fit. Even if it's antisocial, even if it's immoral, even if it's detrimental to our quality of life. Right? Just like how we discover, oh, asbestos, not the greatest shit in the world. Maybe we need to kind of calm down on that shit. Or, oh, microplastics, they're kind of fucking up our brains. Need to knock it off of that shit. Oh, lead. Lead is actually pretty harmful. Maybe we need to stop using it in so much shit. These are the type of things that leaders need to be prioritizing. That if somebody's going to be leading the nation, leading America, they need to be having the focus of somebody who is completely obsessed with human progression, actually solving all these various problems in realistic ways, and who is galvanizing individuals, entities, and groups of all kinds, institutions of all kinds, to be all hands on deck in solving these problems. And look, some of these individuals, some of these entities, they're going to have to take some losses. They're going to have to take some losses. Some of them going to have to get phased out entirely. But because these entities, these individuals are all focused on self-preservation or preservation on their way of life, they're going to make this process as difficult as possible. That's why, as I said, I had to move from TikTok to here, because we could be talking about this shit and growing fast and fast and fast on TikTok, but we can't, because they will not allow us. They will not let us talk. They won't let us talk. So we got to do it here on YouTube, right? So that's why we have to refocus our efforts, refocus our thought patterns on what we are attempting to accomplish as a human race. We have to get real with reality. We have to get real. Because if we ever hope to have any meaningful impact on the world, we got to get real. That's the reason why I'm such a strong atheist and anti-theist. Theism has had such a long run for so long. The greatest, longest running scam in human history, where the leaders, the charlatans that promote these ideas are selling products and services that don't even exist, all based on some death cult, so that hopefully one day when you die, you go to the happy place and not the naughty place, when we could be asking, when we should be asking, why do we need to die in the first place? Why do we need to die in the first place? I get it. In the process of trying to improve the world, a lot of people will die. That's just the fact of life. People literally die every day, all the time. Somebody's dying right now. They're losing their life. And that's it. That's their life. Right now, all around the world, somebody's getting unalived, or they're dying of natural causes, or dying from some unnatural cause, whatever the case may be. So in the process, a lot of people are still going to die, but why isn't our focus on mitigating these issues as much as possible? Investing in solving these issues as much as possible. Investing in human health and wellness as much as possible. Ensuring that people have access to care as much as possible. 1/3 of Americans are suffering from north of $10,000 of medical debts. Because we still don't have a healthcare for all scenario. Why don't we have a healthcare for all scenario? Do you really think it's because people don't want it? By the way, I'm not seeing comments. Are you guys there? Is the comments doing that bullshit again? Or are y'all just that immersed in what I'm talking about? Let me know. Let me know y'all are still here. So I'm not seeing comments at all, and I haven't been seeing them this whole time since the last shit. Let me know y'all are still up in here, because I ain't seeing nothing. Silk, where you at? Penny, where you at? Maya, where you at? James, Mike, where you at? So I'm not... Okay, y'all here. Y'all here. I'm just making sure now. Just making sure y'all still here. Alright? Making sure. Alright? Because I wasn't seeing no comments. You know, I don't just be talking to hear myself talk. Because I can do that without this camera. You know what I'm saying? I can do that without the YouTube. I'm just making sure y'all still in here. Alright. Alright. So I'm just making sure y'all listening. And that I'm not just talking to myself. Or that's not doing that thing where it's just not showing comments. And I'm just missing out on y'all. But alright. Alright. Just making sure. I need a roll call every now and then. Okay, you're really absorbed. Dope. Dope. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Exactly. We in the no cap zone. I just need y'all to know we got a strict dress code. Now get the hell off with that cap and shit. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And this is exactly why I think that neither of the two major candidates are Risk of Rain 2. I've never even heard of that, but sounds like a good game. Maybe I need to start playing it. I don't know. But yeah, this is why I think that the two major candidates for president are simply unqualified for the position. Because whatever topic they're going to talk about, they're not going to talk about the actual underlying issues. They're not going to talk about practical solutions. They're not going to talk about hardly anything practical. What we know is that these fools are going to do a lot of flame throwing, shit throwing, fucking ape-like behavior instead of actually having real discussions about solutions. They're going to both talk about how they love the Lord so much and how they care about the American people so much. But everything they're going to talk about is going to be some bullshit. Motherfuckers going to talk about borders and how we need to strengthen the border. We need to strengthen the border because the illegals. But like we said earlier, why do we even have that mindset? We're all people. We're all people. We are all people. The mere fact that we even still have these like mindsets of this stretch of land versus that stretch of land when it's all land, we're all people. Why can't we fucking all share all together? So when we talk about environmental issues, I was reading this article from Newsweek about the potential topics of the debate, and they were talking about how well, let me see if I still have it up. They were talking about the potential topics that people nationwide are interested in. So this is according to Newsweek, all right? It says, for all Republican, Democrat, and Independent respondents, the top 4 issues are inflation, healthcare, border security, and social security. The Republican presidential candidate has repeatedly criticized Harris's border security policies and referred to her as a border czar. Whereas a recent poll by ABC News and Ipsos found that Trump has more voter trust to handle the economy and the border, but also found that more voters feel that Harris is a better candidate to handle health care and abortion. Respondents appeared to be less interested in hearing about democracy, corruption, Israel, and guns, and less than 40% reported showing interest. Topics that respondents appear to be the least interested in hearing discussed on the debate stage include education, climate change, racism, criminal allegations against them, China, their mental fitness, and their ages. Which goes to show you that it's not just a politician thing. It's a social issue. Right? People don't want to talk about the real shit. They don't want to talk about climate change. They don't want to talk about education. Oh, what do you know? A bunch of dumbass people don't want to talk about education. Who would have thought? They don't want to talk about the competency of these leaders because it is abundantly clear that they are largely incompetent, which is why we are a kakistocracy, a nation run by a bunch of corrupt buffoons. Oh, and what do you know? People don't want to talk about corruption. They don't want to hear about corruption. This is according to the poll, right? Now, that's why we got to talk about these things. Yeah, shark attacks and wet batteries. See, this is the issue that we have as a nation. When it comes to actual talking about the issues, we don't even want to talk about issues. People don't want to talk about. They just want to believe some sci-fi fantasy nonsense and believe that all they have to do is believe in Jesus and that's just going to solve the problem. It does not. It does not. And so, at the end of the day, we know that these debates, they always devolve into nonsense, bullshit, crybaby behavior, just beyond absurdity. Mudslinging, he said this, she did that. Oh, remember back in 1997 when you did this? Remember back in 2002 when you said that? Remember back in 2015? Look, I don't give a fuck about any of these goofies, all right? And I don't think you do either. The fact of the matter is that their personal identities honestly don't matter. We don't care about these people. We care about what these people are claiming that they seek to do. And the fact of the matter is that they do not have the focus of America and American progress at hand. The fact that we're talking about borders. Look, I get it. We're talking. No, they don't want drugs and illegal substances. Exactly, Penny. Like, it's he said, she said. But we don't care about none of that shit. We care about what they're going to do. I understand we don't want drugs being brought in, but let's just face it, they're here. They're always going to be here. Fighting the drug war will not ever end the drugs or drug usage. If you want to stop people from using drugs, then we have to figure out why people use drugs. And then we also have to try to figure out, I don't know, better drugs that can have the high without the addictive capabilities. These are the type of things that quantum computing are going to help us with. Drug discovery, coming up with better drugs, either drugs that have better qualities or drugs that can help people quit drugs. That's also why brain-computer interfaces are going to become important. That's why understanding the human brain is important. These are things that leaders should be talking about. Because if we don't have a focus of what we're trying to accomplish as a human race, then the policies that are enacted just become random. And it just so happens that these people in office are damn near all completely divorced from reality, and they have no focus on how we can actually push humanity towards becoming a Kardashev type civilization. That's why even in a Democrat regime, they cut the budget of NASA, which is ludicrous for a party that claims to care about progression, that love to claim that they're progressives. Why would you cut NASA's budget? Why are we not focused on real, scientifically based Green New Deals? where we have a real focus on investing in future technologies and future energies, clean energies, particularly things like fusion energy. Yes, there are investments being made, but there's also subsidies still being given to oil and coal companies. When the scientists are warning us, we need to stop. We need to stop with the CO2 emissions, but we have a nation of people that don't even want to talk about it because we have a nation of people that are constantly rejecting science because they don't want to talk about science. They don't care about science. They believe that science is a whole bunch of gobbledygook, but they believe that their religious bullshit is somehow the truth, and we just need to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ because the Lord Jesus Christ is going to somehow, something, just pray. That is insufficient. And then what's missing, of course, is these fools' ideas of long-term planning, going beyond their terms in office. They're not inspiring global cooperation and collaboration on all the issues that threaten humanity, that threaten the existence of humanity. The great filter hypothesis. Check this out, right? I was on some Facebook group that supposedly claims to care about NASA type of shit. So I mentioned, so there was this post. There was this post about like different extinction level events that occurred throughout the Earth's history. They show like, asteroid hitting the Earth. You know what I'm saying? They showed Venus and how it used to have an atmosphere and now it looks like the way it does. They showed Mars, how it looked like it had an atmosphere and now it looks like the way it does. And then they had a question that was like, oh, what would make the Earth look like this? They show like the Earth, a regular picture of the Earth, and then they showed the Earth looking like a disastrous war zone, worst case scenario shit. And they said, what would make the Earth look like this? And I commented, oh, the great filter hypothesis. Some, environmental disaster or, MAD, mutually assured destruction, asteroidal impact, something like that. And you know what happened? A lot of people replied to me talking about, oh, look at this tinfoil hat guy. This guy is clearly unhinged. Bro, are you serious? Are you really serious? That's the type of nation that we are filled with. People who think like that. People who claim they care about science and space, but this is what they demonstrate on a constant basis. Uh-oh, looks like I lost everybody. But yeah. That's what the type of nation that we have, where people actually don't care, where people don't think about none of this shit. Clearly people who have never been exposed to these ideas, but people who think that actually addressing these ideas and talking about these mind states, talking about these hypotheses is somehow ridiculous or preposterous. So, of course, I left the group after that because I don't like being surrounded by imbeciles. And one thing I'm not going to do is try to convince somebody through text because it's probably the most inefficient form of communication when trying to make arguments, which is why I prefer doing lives the way that I do. Because at the end of the day, okay, well, it's just showing me the numbers, like it's off. It goes to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. So I don't be knowing nothing. So I just gotta stop paying attention to the shit. Like it just went to 0 again. So whatever. See, 2 people are here, but showing me 0. So YouTube, you need to get your shit together, fam. You need to get your shit together. Why are you showing me 0 people available right now? Anyway. The fact of the matter is that we need to start thinking long term. We need to start thinking globally. We need to start thinking ahead and trying to understand what we are trying to do and where we're trying to go as a species, as a human race. That's why I love to talk about upgrades to the human body. That's why I'm an extropist and a transhumanist, because we need to talk about how these technologies are going to impact us. Who are the people who are going to gain access to these technologies? How are these technologies, how are these innovations going to impact our quality of life? And if we don't have a society that's more communal, all we're going to do is widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. It's bad enough that we have such extreme wealth inequality, and of course, we have candidates that are probably not going to talk about it much at all. Kamala May, she may talk about it in her tax strategy. But we need to start talking long term, right? Because we have a whole right wing that just wants to give corporations and banks and rich people everything, and they want to give us nothing, and then they want to gaslight us into thinking we don't deserve shit because we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. These same people who believe in magic, but they want to give themselves and their homies all the benefits that they possibly can, but they don't want us, the people, to have anything, when these fucks wouldn't have shit if it wasn't for us. That's why we need to stop letting these fucks dictate to us what they will or won't do. That's why we, the people, need to draw up our fucking policies, our Kardashev policies. Because we need policies that are going to ensure that we continue to move up on the scale, on the Kardashev scale. But it's not going to happen if we're not having real conversations about it. If we're not having real conversations about, okay, what are the policies that we need to act starting today that are going to help us along the Kardashev scale, that's going to allow us to improve and evolve and create a society that's conducive of one that inspires everyone far and wide to work together interdependently with synergy to help create this well-functioning society so that we constantly are improving and evolving. We were talking yesterday in the Discord where we will be headed after the fucking live. So if you're not there already, join the Discord. The link is in the description, and we're gonna be talking about these things. But we were talking yesterday, watching a video about all these different arguments against atheism. As an example, one of them asked about, like, oh, like, why haven't we accomplished this goal already, or why haven't we accomplished that goal already? If atheism was true, shouldn't we have been able to do this and do that and do this and do that? Why isn't that the case? And I made the poignant point, well, we could accomplish a lot of things if people got their heads out of their asses and stopped subscribing to these sci-fi fantasy ideologies, and instead got their minds right and actually contributed to the scientific advancement of life, right? Like, instead of measuring societies by, say, the GDP, the gross domestic product, we need to be viewing societies based on scientific advancement. Because science is life. Life is science. Reality is science. Science is all about trying to understand reality as much as possible. If there is such a thing as a God, if there was an actual thing, an entity, a being that created everything, that means that this being has an understanding of everything. It has an understanding of the laws of physics. If reality is a simulation, then that means that God has a mastery of the code. It has the mastery of the programming language that it's using to code everything, which means that we as a nation, we as a people, if we want to be God-like, that means that we need to be working on understanding the laws of nature, the laws of physics, understanding as much about reality as is, using the scientific method and not worshiping and praying and worshiping and praying. Please, Jesus, please, Allah, please, Krishna, please. Please, 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 please change future plan so that it benefits me, and please, please. It's not efficient. It's not sufficient. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now I get it. Science is hard. Computer science is hard. They are difficult, but what we need to be doing is fostering a nation, fostering a society that values these things as the keys to the future. Because whether people like it or not, technologies are going to continue advancing and evolving, and they're going to continue having a huge impact on our society. Welcome back, fam. Welcome back. These new technologies are going to continue having an impact on our society in ways that we can't even begin to fathom. And if we are not having real conversations about these things, if we don't improve our understanding of these things, if we are not making these conversations more widespread, these things are going to hit us, and we're just going to be kept in the dark because we'll be so far behind. We're already far behind. There's a growing and widening gap between the layperson's average understanding of our current scientific status and the innovations that are constantly happening. And the gap is constantly getting wider. And our mainstream media is not helping. Our fucking social media is not helping. We have all, like on TikTok, they want to shut us down when these are the very things we talk about, but they will totally allow and love for charlatans and scam artists to preach their fucking bullshit on a constant basis. And these people who are vying for the leadership love to give platforms to these charlatans, to these goofies who purport bullshit on a constant basis that don't help or solve anything. And then we wonder why we have a society that's constantly worsening on a constant basis where we can't figure out what's going on. What up? What up, Soul? What's cracking? Rich the Ram. My boy, Rich the Ram. Thank you for the life, fam. My boy, Soul. So, this is what we need to start doing. We need to start having real conversations about how we can reorganize our entire political structure, our entire political landscape, where whenever it comes to election time, it's not, oh, well, Trump did this and Kamala did that, and Trump said this and Kamala said that. Because personally, I don't care about either of these motherfuckers. To tell you the truth, I don't care about either of them. That's what's up. That's what's up. You already know what time it is. It's the no cap zone, baby. We have a strict dress code in the no cap zone. No capping shit allowed. And you goddamn right, Mike. That's exactly what we need to do. That's why we are here in the no cap zone. That's exactly what we're doing. We have to get real with reality. As much as these fools love to pretend like, oh no, why don't you let people believe what they want to believe? Why can't you just let, if it's not hurting anyone, then why can't you let them all believe what they want to believe? Why can't you let them believe what to believe? Because, look, you can believe whatever you want to believe. But if you want to try to tell me it's true, you want to tell me that what you believe is the actual truth, and that it is the correct way of going about doing things, then show us! We are in a time now where we have the scientific method. So whatever you claim is true, the time is now for these fucks to show it. And look, They've had thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, plenty of opportunity, all the availability and power and control. Anything of a sci-fi fantasy novel that accomplishes nothing, that shows a deranged serial killer psychopath that supposedly wants to make the world a worse place, commands people to act in ways that are senseless and antisocial, and doesn't actually help solve anything in any tangible, meaningful way. This thing so apparently intelligent and wonderful and amazing, it never gives people actual cures for diseases, new schematics for new innovations and new technologies or anything like that. It doesn't give anybody the ideas for new forms of nothing. It does nothing. It tells people commit horrible acts of violence. It tells people to engage in antisocial behaviors that don't help anything. People far and wide think that these ideas make perfect sense. They think it's sensible. They think it's reasonable. They think it's logical. They think it's tangible. And yet, when you actually dare these people, when you actually engage these people to demonstrate whatever they're talking about, they have nothing. They think that these ideas make perfect sense. And at the end of the day, they don't. I'm sorry to break it to you. These ideas are senseless and preposterous. They are not only not helping us, they are hindering our ability to progress as a civilization. The mere fact that you can't even get into office without subscribing to these ideas only goes to show you the problem that we have as a nation. That in order to even run for office, you have to be stupid as fuck. You have to believe in this nonsense. You have to believe in this ideology that simply does not comport with reality. And then we wonder why these people get in the office and fuck shit up on a constant basis. Maybe because they're out of touch with reality. And that is why we need to get people who are in touch with reality and have them be the leaders, the people that have the ideas about how we can think long term in terms of improving society on a grander scale. So that's why I propose things like, say, a Department of Future Affairs, right? Pretty much an organization that focuses specifically on long-term planning and foresight, that works with all these different sectors, all these different industries on how to best move forward henceforth with a Kardashev scale focus in mind, right? Where we're not just talking about, oh, another entity that's just going to say give corporations money. No. We need to reshape our society in ways that are sensible, reasonable, that are conducive to constant improvement and advancement, where we are able to improve our society, where we're able to improve our quality of life, how we can actually have these metrics that show us that we're on the right track, that we're on the right path, where cities like mine and Southside Chicago look like the most posh neighborhoods, look like the fucking Hamptons all over the nation. Right? We need to have a fucking leadership, a governance that highly values the scientific method, that stops giving tax breaks to religious institutions that contribute not a goddamn thing to human knowledge or to human behavior, to human health and wellness. If anything, they're helping to worsen it. You get these groups, you get these individuals, you get these people that subscribe to these ridiculous ideologies that further get worsened with their conspiracy theorist ideologies to buttress their ridiculous religious ideologies to make them think that engaging in useful behaviors is not useful, that engaging in useless, unhelpful behaviors is somehow useful and helpful. When you have these, we were talking yesterday in the Discord, where we will be heading after this fucking live. We were talking about how you have these anti-vaxxers, right? As an example. if anti-vaxxers really cared about whether or not vaccines were helping or hurting, then why the fuck aren't these fucks working to learn science, working to learn virology and all the different sciences involved in making vaccines so they can get into the positions where they can ensure that vaccines aren't causing autism? You know, it's just, they claim that's what they care about. If they really think that, then why don't they work in the science? Why don't they study science so they can ensure that vaccines don't cause autism, if that was really what they cared about? See, this is the issue that we have as a nation. We are a nation that is suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect on a globe, or I should say on a nationwide scale, where people think they don't have to study science, but somehow they know science because they believe their religious bullshit. And because they believe their religious bullshit, and because they have a somewhat understanding of some aspects of science, that makes them scientific geniuses. So they can tell scientists who are literally practicing in the field, you know, the ones who studied all their lives to understand the shit, who earned the credentials to be able to work in the fields in official capacities, whereas we have these armchair physicists, these armchair virologists who think that reading a fucking bullshit article on some vlog, on some blog, on some fucking body's YouTube, watching a video or whatever the fuck somehow makes them geniuses. And they produce nothing other than more chaos and mayhem. We have these fools who say, nah, I'm not going to take the vaccine. Then we wonder why we have measles outbreaks in the 21st century. Why is it that we have a nation that values ignorance so strongly, that values religiously based ignorance, and that worship this kind of mentality? And why does this mentality influence them to support candidates who continue to perpetuate and disseminate this type of bullshit on a constant basis? That is why we have to challenge this bullshit on a constant basis. That's why I do these lives nearly every day. Even though I'm not going to do a live tomorrow because I got some runs to make and what have you. But we keep this shit going because we have to talk about these things as a people. Because if we want to improve, we have to get real with reality. We have to have real conversations about what it means to improve upon things, right? As we have things like AI rolling out, as we have these LLM chatbots that can help us to perform various tasks, why are we not using them in government? Or are they? Are they being used for nefarious purposes? How do we ensure that they're not being used for nefarious purposes? Because one thing we do know is that the Biden administration worked directly with Meta specifically to suppress all types of content about the COVID pandemic. All right? Now, to an extent, I get it. All right? I get it. There was a lot of bullshit being purported by anti-vaxxers, by goofies, by MAGA people, by these sci-fi fantasy losers who want to believe all kinds of goofy shit, purporting ideas that, oh, if you just, all you got to do is take some ivermectin. That's all you got to do. Look, just take some ivermectin. You know what I'm saying? Putting it out. And boom. You ain't got to worry about COVID. See, I'm COVID free because I just took some ivermectin. And look, it's apple flavor. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Look, we have scientists, but we need more. We need more people who are getting into the fields so that they can contribute to understanding all the things about science. So that we don't have these goofies that say the things like, oh, all you need is ivermectin. Like, what the hell are we doing, fam? What are we doing? What are we doing? That's why I asked, what exactly are we doing? Because it doesn't make sense It has a weird aftertaste to it. What are we doing as a society, man? That's why we have to go back to the drawing board. Because we have too many people among us who are wasting their time and energy in these ideologies and these mindsets that are simply not helping us at all. They do not help us to improve our quality of life in any tangible, meaningful way, which is why we keep having these debates. I was talking to these guys in the Discord last night, right? Because you know, one of the reasons why you guys are here, because you love my constant takedowns of religion. Because it's too easy. We have logic, we have reason, we have fact-based evidence, we have the scientific method. Anybody who makes a claim about reality, now we can put that shit to the test. And that's why I love doing lives. Because we're in real time. If somebody wants to jump in the chat and say, no, the Lord is real, because God is real, the Lord say it, the Lord give it, the Lord take it. All right, show me. And it's even better on TikTok, you know, if they weren't so full of shit with their censorship. But they have a fucking platform where you could come up and you could try to make your case. But as I was telling them in the group last night, the conversation is over. That's why we do what we do here in the no cap zone, where we have a strict dress code. Knock it off with that capping shit. Because at the end of the day, theists have nothing. They've had nothing. They never will have anything. I was arguing with some chick on Facebook like a few weeks back, where she tried to say, well, how do you know that theists will never? And I'm just like, see, this is the issue that we have, even with logic and philosophy. And this is why theists love to play these logic games. They get so caught up in the logic that they love to try to wiggle their way out of the fact that they're full of shit. Because check it out. They can't even agree on what this supernatural, super being entity thing is supposed to be. This God thing. They can't even agree on what it is. They can't demonstrate what it is. They use useless terms like spirit, soul, spirituality, the spirit, the Holy Spirit. They mean nothing. See, here's the thing about these sci-fi fantasy concepts. If these things were real, the supernatural would just be a part of nature, and it would be something that we could quantify, detect, that we could discover in some aspect and say, hey, this is the supernatural. It is an aspect of nature that is super. Unfortunately, theists have nothing to show. They've had nothing to show. They never will, because a lot of the time, I mean, theism is not scientifically based. It's not scientifically rooted. So while it may sound like an unfalsifiable claim, it's just a fact. If there is some super being thing in the sky, the super grand designer, science will bear it out. Because the whole point of science is to understand as much as we can about everything as we can. So if these people really believe what they claim they believe, then that should give them even more reason to study science, because that would equip them with the ability to demonstrate their fucking points. But as you can see, the opposite is true. They tend to hate science. They tend to be repelled by science. They tend to be appalled by science. They tend to reject science on a constant basis, because even they know their bullshit beliefs will never, ever, ever be borne out by any scientific evidence, ever. Which is why, personally, I'm sick of the debate. I'm sick of having debates with theists about their delusional bullshit. That's why I act differently from other atheists. Atheists love to do the deconstruction. That's cool. Let them do that. They can do that. They can go through the Bible and the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita and any other religious text. They can go line by line and say, hey, this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. Me, I go straight to the core. Because the way I look at it is, if you can't show me where this God thing is, where this supernatural entity is, then the rest of it has no bearing at all. The rest of it makes no sense. It's senseless. It's bullshit. There's no point in even talking about it. There's no point in talking about what is in this book if you can't show me where the thing that inspired the book is right now. In fact, let's take that on this face. If this thing existed and really wanted us to understand it in the way it wants us to conduct ourselves, why would it inspire a book? Why wouldn't it just maintain constant contact with us? You know, if it was so intelligent and it wanted us to do these things and conduct in these ways and conduct these certain actions and engage in these certain behaviors, why wouldn't it just tell us? You know, the way I'm talking to you guys right now, the way I'm telling you to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, join the Discord, join the motherfucking Patreon, $5 a month. You get exclusive updates and access to new shit. Why wouldn't it just say, hey, what's good, guys? I'm the Lord. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to hit that guy over there with a baseball bat 27 times until he is now dead. Because I am the Lord and I said so. Why is it that people who claim to have this direct connection never seem to have anything they can demonstrate at all? Whenever I ask these fools, hey, what is the exact location of this God thing right now? Where is it? It is 3:46 p.m. Central Standard Time on September the 10th of September, 2024 AD. Where the fuck is this dude at? Where is this thing at? Where? Where is it? What is it? Where is it? And what is your methodology for showing us? The mere fact that these people can't show us a goddamn thing, and yet they're so numerous. They're so fucking numerous. They're all over the nation. They're everywhere. I've showed y'all countless times that I got churches upon churches upon churches just around me, every fucking where around me, and yet these fools have not been able to demonstrate how they can solve any of the various problems that we have in our society. Any of the problems that we are facing as a human race, as a nation, city, state, any of that. We still see murders, mass murder, serial killers, tweakers, fools that are abusive, people who unalive their entire family, who unalive their spouses, who unalive their children, other people's children, commit acts of rape and sexual assaults all over the nation. This shit don't ever stop, and no amount of prayer and hoping and wishing, no matter of thoughts and prayers are stopping any of that shit. People can pray and hope all they want. It's not gonna bring back the victims of Cult Gray. It's not, and it's not gonna stop the next psychopath from doing the same shit. The fact of the matter is we have become a nation of people that doesn't actually care to actually address and solve these problems in any tangible, meaningful way. We have become a nation that likes to infantilize the population, treat people like they're fucking babies. Except it does that, but then also at the same time, it abandons the baby. It picks and chooses in some seemingly random form when to give a shit and when not to. And it's time we start getting a handle on the direction that this country is going in by building a coalition of people who get it. Building a coalition of people that are not going to just subscribe to bullshit, political rhetoric, religious rhetoric. Oh, you're going to support this party or that party because you think this party is better than... Look, the political discourse in America has become garbage. The people who vie for office are some of the least qualified people in the world. I don't care what they accomplished in their careers. I don't care how much money they were able to make with their fucking businesses. At the end of the day, can they show us a real, tangible vision for the future of humanity that makes sense? That actually will help the lot of us. That will actually help all of us live enjoyable lives, where we live in safe neighborhoods, where people are not out here fucked up, having tweaker thoughts, where they think, hey, I'm going to grab a gun and bring it to the supermarket and shoot as many people as I can. Where people will understand why that is not a pro-social type of behavior, why that is actually anti-social behavior, and why that is actually harmful to our society, and how we need to engage in better, more pro-social behaviors that will help us create a well-functioning society for ourselves. And moving forward, and equipping the youth to pay it forward, where we can equip the youth with as much knowledge, as much education, as much wisdom, as much understanding as they can possibly get, so that they can continue to build on what is happening, so that future generations won't have to suffer from the various issues that will be plaguing humanity, that have been plaguing humanity. Where instead of having issues plaguing humanity, we figure out new issues to solve. Where we solve these age-old problems once and for all: homelessness, hunger, healthcare access for all, improving upon human longevity, investing heavily in human longevity. Sorry, insurance companies, y'all need to lose out on money, because we humans love to improve life. We want to improve our lives. We want to live. We want to live. We want to ensure that we have great health. We want to ensure that we create an environment that's conducive of our great health, mentally, physically, physiologically, emotionally, every aspect of life. Where we actually understand more about the human body, where we can develop better treatment methods, better preventative methods, better prevention methods, better fucking care, better therapies, better technologies that can help us deal with or even cure our traumas, addictions, disorders, conditions, cancer in remission. Religion is fictitious, where diseases go into submission, because we're improving human cognition, where we're actually reducing emissions. This is our mission. This is what the fuck we should be focused on. Actually improving upon things in tangible, meaningful ways. Creating well-functioning societies all over the world. Ending international conflicts. Improving international relations so that we all work together, so that we're not beefing with China and beefing with Russia and beefing with North Korea, where we can all become one. Yeah, y'all know how I do, man. Light work. So that's why it is my personal opinion that unless political leaders, unless those that are vying for the head office are talking about these types of things that we're talking about, they're unqualified for the position. They're totally, completely, and utterly unqualified for the position. It doesn't matter which of these two candidates wins. We all lose, and we know that, and it's time that we stop pretending like that's not the case. People love to say, oh, if Trump wins, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world if Trump wins, even though we have 4 years of Trump and we're still alive. Oh, if Kamala wins, it's the end of the world, even though she's vice president now and we're still alive. But what is true is that these fucks, neither of them are qualified. Neither of them are best suited to lead America. Because if they're not talking about the type of shit that we're talking about, if they're not talking about how we can advance along the Kardashev scale, if they're not talking about how they're going to create policies that are going to force corporations, banks, entities, individuals to focus their efforts on human advancement and progression along the Kardashev scale, then what the fuck is the point? What are their purposes? What are they trying to do? Because clearly human advancement is not it. So there's so much shit I can talk about that I queued up a whole lot of talking points. Don't even need to talk about it. Because we're going to talk more about these things going forward, especially, you know, when we get into the Discord, where we will be heading after the live. The link can be found on my page. Join the fucking Discord if you haven't already. We're going to be in the think tank, thinking and tanking it up, making sense of things. And this is how we build the movement for the future of humanity. Okay? It's going to take us some time. Because when it comes to progress, the haters, the trolls, the motherfucking perpetrators of the status quo, the protectors of the status quo, they don't want to see human progression happen, because human progression means less money for them. And in this hyper-capitalist society, these fucks, the last thing they want is less money. But for the sake of our lives, for the sake of our health and our wellness, for the sake of our future, these fucks are gonna start having to take the giant L, and we're going to have to start taking W's. We're going to have to start getting the wins, which is why I need you to hit that like and hit that subscribe and turn on the notification bell and join my fucking Patreon and join my Discord and check out the Outrageous EP available on all streaming platforms, and then check out the Ultimate Rage Furious Styles Mixtape Volume 1, which can be found in the Discord under the OD9 music section, along with other music, other projects, and my affiliates. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is an ongoing process. I will not rest until I see with my own eyes us as human beings becoming a Kardashev type 1 civilization and beyond, because this shit that we're in right now doesn't make any sense. We are a 0.6, 0.7 on the Kardashev scale. There is no reason why we can't see ourselves become a Kardashev type 1 civilization in our lifetimes while we are alive, so that we can make Earth and any potential space habitats out in the fucking space, out in the fucking solar system and beyond. Why we can't make heaven real in real life? Why do we have to die to hope that there's some weird afterlife thing when we can just live and enjoy real life while we're alive, and extend our lives so we can enjoy it even more, and then work towards further enjoying it, further extending it so we can further enjoy it even more and even more and even more and even more. This goofy ass religious bullshit don't make no sense. We need to move away from it, and we need to move away from political parties. We need to start moving towards ranked choice voting and or star voting and or approval voting, so that people have more access to voting, so that people have more choices, so that these two parties don't continue to have a stranglehold on our political discourse and our political system, so that we're not caught in this false dichotomy, that we're not caught in this fucking set of choices that are both shown to constantly worsen our quality of life. We're going to continue doing this every day. Like I've said, we're going to start doing a TikTok pre-show. I want to be able to use TikTok in some capacity. So we're going to use it as a pre-show. So the pre-show will be 1:30 p.m. on TikTok. We'll do it for a half hour. Not going fucking wood. Not going fucking wood. That they don't fucking shut us down and suspend us like they have been. But we're going to do a pre-show on TikTok to try to convert the people over to here, right? So that then we can move the people over to the Discord, right? So that we can begin to build a real community of people who get it, who see the vision I see, who see that these fools that are constantly getting in office do not have America's best interests at heart, that these people, these individuals are not the best equipped at running a nation and leading us to a future that will be the best possible future we can have for improving the world around us, all right? So I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thank all of y'all for coming through. Y'all know it's always love over here. Know what I'm saying? If you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on notification bell. You know what the fuck? I won't be back tomorrow because got some moves to make, but we'll be back Thursday. And please believe, y'all know what Thursday is, Throwdown Thursday, which means we gonna talk about some shit. We gonna talk about some shit. It's gonna be cray-cray. It's gonna be cray-cray. Gonna get cray-cray. But we gonna have fun, because this is what we do. This is why y'all come through to the No Cap Zone. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for coming through. We gonna go to the Discord. I'm gonna take me a quick smoke break. You feel what I'm saying? But oh yeah, please believe, yes, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna get litty. It's gonna get litty. It's gonna be litty. So yeah, we gonna be in the Discord, in the think tank. If you haven't already, join the fucking Discord, yo. We're having great discussions. We're building rapport. We're watching insightful videos. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna build this shit into some awesome shit, to some dope shit. All right, but I need your help. 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 All right, this is a call to action. Call to action. Let's bring some sense in the world. Let's bring some sense to this crazy ass, insane ass world, so that we can make it a better place, so that we can manipulate our reality to our collective benefit, so that we can improve our quality of life, so that we can create a well-functioning society for ourselves and move up as far as we can on the Kardashev scale and see how deep the rabbit hole of reality goes. So thank y'all for coming through. This has been another example of the No Cap Zone, where we have a strict dress code. Knock it off with that cap and shit. The only cap that's allowed is the thinking cap. Otherwise, if you want to come through here capping, sorry, you are not welcome around these parts. Move the hell around. Move the hell around with that cap and shit. All right, this has been the No Cap Zone. Thank you for coming through. Much love, much appreciated. Check out the Outrageous EP. Check out the Furious Styles Volume 1 mixtape if you haven't already. We headed to the Discord, but first I gotta I gotta. So holla back at your boy. Thank you.